What's going on, everybody? How you doing, man? I'm your host, Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV, coming to you live from the car. It's going down through the Eye of the Tiger every Thursday at 7 p.m., every Saturday at 11 a.m. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Pitch. How are you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. No complaints on my end.
Good, good. That's good to hear, man. I'm better. Obviously we didn't turn out how we wanted to turn out, but 24 hours, that's all we give it. We turn it around.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Last time we spoke on Saturday, you guys were getting ready to take on Utah State. If you can take us through that game and how it unfolded.
Well, the good thing about it, we started out strong. It was a situation where I think they scored first, and then we were able to jump up also, and then we were able to go ahead on them with a second touchdown. So in the first quarter, the first half started out real good. And then we got into the third quarter, we played okay. And going into the
Hmm.
fourth quarter, the score was 20-14. I'm like, look, man, we got a shot. Let's get our mind right. Let's do what we're supposed to do. Let's do the things we're supposed to do to handle our business. And then somehow or another, we just fell apart in that fourth quarter. I don't know if they just wore us down or whatever the situation was, but we didn't play well in the fourth quarter. We gave up 16 points and losing the game. So we've got to make sure we can capitalize on those things and make sure we stay on top of those things and understand how to finish a football game.
Right. So when you talk about our theme, our word of the week, our wow, and our word was mindset. How do you think your team's mindset was going into that game?
I think it was great. And to be honest with you, I think it was great. Our guys went in that game really prepared, really understanding the game plan, really understanding what we needed to do. And they started out outstanding. I mean, like I said, they punched us in the mouth first, but we were able to jump back on them. And like I said, we went in at halftime, we were up 14-10. So that's the
Yeah,
positive thing about it. So our guys understood that. Went out the first drive down, they're driving the ball, we get a pick. Their second drive, we get another pick. So we did a great job of slowing them down in the first half because they were, like I said last week, they're in the top five of fast offenses. Top five as far as offenses that go fast and hurry up offenses in FBS. So for us to
yeah,
slow them down with turnovers was great. So our guys played hard, and like I said, the offense did a good job putting points up. It's just when that third quarter came, we slowed down a little bit and could never get that momentum about. So they went in with the right mindset. There's no doubt about it. We got to learn how to sustain that for 60 plus minutes. That's what I tell the
yeah.
guys all the time. We got to play 60 plus minutes.
Talk about the players that you brought in that we spoke of, um, that were transfers to the team that you felt that would be able to help your team. Talk about their contributions and how they did in their first game as a Colonial.
Well, let me tell you this, Pitch, because me and you talked about this all last year. Tyvon Edmonds and our other running backs, my man, we had 146-yard rushing. We averaged 6 yards a carry. So that was outstanding. So
Yeah,
Tyvon and the other running backs, one of them had been there before. Actually, two of them, DJ Moyer and
right.
DeVecchio Powell, both those guys were there. And then Julian White also contributed. But we had 146 yards rushing. So we had a good contribution by those guys more than anything else. We started a offensive lineman that we had just moved. We talked about him last week, if I think about it. We had just moved into offense. He had
Yeah,
been there for probably 3 weeks on the offensive line. He had to start. He held his own. Obviously, he had some mistakes, but he played hard. He gave us unbelievable effort, and he got after
yeah,
it pretty doggone good. So he was a good contributor. The wide receivers, one of the wide receivers, I'm not sure if he's still in the game or not, we gave him a reverse. He ends up throwing an unbelievable pass. It was going to be a fake. It was going to be a trick play to the quarterback. Going to throw a ball pass to the quarterback down the field. What ended up happening was he had to scramble and run around. He threw a dart to our tight end. Our tight end, Cole Mitchell, Coach Tyler's position. Tight end
uh-huh.
Cole Mitchell, the transfer from Pitt. Him and our regular tight end, Landon Lucas. Cole had an unbelievable game. Caught a touchdown. Looked for a guy to run over. Ran the guy straight over. Put it into the end zone. So we felt good about those things. Felt real good about those things. So our offensive guys we brought in transfer-wise, they did a great job. And defensively, we're still feeling our way a little bit. One thing that drove me crazy last year kind of plagued us and really plagued us in the fourth quarter. Missed tackles. I mean, you talk about
Right.
that all the time. We probably had
Uh-huh.
about 30 missed tackles this game. And so that drove me out of my mind, drove me crazy. So I want to make sure it's there.
So, so you know what's odd is that we actually that was one of the things that I asked, in our last in our Thursday interview, it was like when we talk about miss tackling, has that been a point of emphasis for you guys during camp at that time.
It always is a point of emphasis, you know that. But the thing about it, it's hard to simulate a game in practice when it comes to tackling. And
Yeah,
you can only scrimmage so much. You know, with the NCAA rules now, you can't scrimmage as much as I would have liked to scrimmage during camp. I would wish we could have scrimmaged almost every day, but you can't do that. So
right.
there's no live tackling. So when you get in the game, you got to make up for those things and do live tackling. But we didn't tackle very well. We did in the
Yeah,
first, like I said, in the first half, I thought we did a great job of gang tackling because even though we miss a tackle, there'd be another guy around it. Like I said, I think in the fourth quarter, they wore us down a little bit, and our guys started getting a little tired, and it frustrated me because I thought we were playing so well. I thought we'd taken it to the fourth quarter, but it didn't end up being that way.
when we talk about let's start on the defensive side and Tyrus Harvey. He was
Mm-hmm.
your NEC co-defensive player of the week.
Yeah,
If you can
yeah.
talk a little bit about him and his contribution in that game.
Well, the great thing about Tyrus, Coach McCrenos has done a great job with our corners. He's done an outstanding job with those guys. And on the first pick that Tyrus had, he read it perfect. And the great thing about it was the defender slipped. I mean, the offensive receiver slipped. When he slipped, Tyrus broke on it perfect, picked it off, took it back. I think it took it back like 20 or 30 yards. And our offense was able to capitalize on that thing and move it down the field a little bit more, even though it causes the punt. But we were able to get that turnover. And the second turnover, he just read a perfect route. He just
Yeah,
yanked it from the receiver. And he played great all night long with tackles and everything else. He was one of the guys that played hard and did a great job. And he's one of our transfers from Eastern Illinois who we expected a lot from because he came in the spring. We kind of like, this guy's pretty doggone good. And he ended up playing outstanding for us. So he did a great job. But him being a NEC player of the week, I was kind of figuring out, okay, who was the other guy? I don't know who the other guy was. Who's the other guy that got who's the other guy that got defense player of the week?
uh,
I'm
I don't
asking
know.
you. Come
I
on,
don't
Pitts. You're
know.
supposed to, you're supposed to know these things, Pitts.
Only thing that mattered to me was Robert Morris. The the
No,
other
it's
the
just
other person that got the other turkey leg didn't matter.
no. He did a great job for us, man. He's been practicing like that too. I mean, he's been practicing outstanding. So he's definitely a great contribution to that side of the ball.
When you talk about interceptions, we're gonna go ahead and since we're talking about that side of the ball, as I cue this video up, talk about being on the field and experiencing it in real time by Mr. Carter and his interception on this
Now I'm gonna
past week.
the craziest thing is this, Pitch. I'm going to tell you, man. The pick was not only outstanding because of the kind of pick that was a one-handed pick, but he spent in the air, did a 360.
Right.
The crazy thing about it is he couldn't go up with the other hand because I just found out this week he broke a finger in the first quarter.
Mm,
So he did not want to go up with two hands and risk dropping the ball. So he went up with one hand because once you jump higher with one hand, but also because he didn't want to risk hurting his finger more. So that's why it's even more of an outstanding pick because he broke his finger and he was able to one hand pick that thing and do a great job. But the great thing about what he did was because he did exactly as Coach Macrinos taught him. He tracked the ball. It was basically a split zone coverage where he stayed over the top of the receiver, and he
yeah.
thinks the quarterback, had been communicating all game long, and he just stayed exactly in the path where the quarterback was throwing the ball. And he tracked the ball better than the receiver did. And he said the whole time he was thinking, he said, "Am I going to go with two? Am I going to go with one?" Because my finger was broken. So he goes up with one. Now the crazy thing about it, he does this all the time in practice. And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, you talk to the offensive coaches and everything else. The guy goes up one hand, he goes up with two hands. He adjusts to the ball extremely well. It's so crazy, to be honest with you. He came to us from UV Wise, University of Virginia Wise, and I was wondering why they moved him from receiver to defensive back. When he first got to us,
Mm,
I'm like, this guy's hands are unbelievable. But they moved him to the corner because he was also one of the best corners. Just like with us, he's one of our best corners. So he's doing an outstanding job. But for him to go up and get that pick at the right moment was outstanding. The
yeah.
crazy thing about it, when he comes down and you'll see it, and he spins the ball on the ground, the ref looks at me, I look at the ref. The ref's like, okay, cool. And then he takes the helmet off. And so the ref's like,
Uh,
I got to call it. So he calls us sportsmanlike. But the thing about it, we go into the halftime, we're up 14-10 because of that pick, and our offense just takes a knee, and we're getting the ball first the second half anyway. So all the
yeah.
positives fell into place, and everything worked out well. So I wasn't too upset by the unsportsmanlike. I just told him, I said, you can't get another one because you'll be kicked out of the game. And he understood that. He's like, Coach, I apologize. Just the excitement of the moment, and I get it. He was extremely excited about it. And honestly, it turned out to be the interception heard around the world. I saw around the world.
Right.
It was unbelievable. It was crazy.
And
So it was
quickly
crazy.
too. Like
Yeah,
like wildfire spread it quickly.
it was.
So when you say he broke a finger, or when you say there was, it makes sense now by the way he tucked and rolled.
Yes.
It now makes sense that he did not want it because normally you use your offhand as a bat, to brace your fall. And
Yes.
now that you said that, he literally rolled midair
Mm-hmm.
and landed on the same side that he caught it on. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that video up
Okay.
for us now.
Now, for the record, Pitts, I want you to know this. I'm tired of talking about this play, man. I've been talking about this play since Saturday, and I told PR guy, "Hey, look at man, I want to stop talking about this play. We got a new game we got to play. We didn't win that game, but what I do want, I want this young man to get as many accolades for this play as he can. If he can get an NIL deal out of this, I'm hoping somebody gives him a call so he can do a great job. He was the Pop Tart
He's at number 2.
crazy player of the week. So yeah, I mean, outstanding catch.
That's the number one spot on Sports Center. The
Yes.
number one spot on Sports Center. The
Yes.
catch was magnificent. So again, shout out Mr. Carter. Congrats on that interception, man. Number one spot. Enjoy it. It looked like he may be there for a little bit. They already called that the interception of the year.
I hope it is. I hope Rob Carter Jr. gets invited to the daggum ESPYs. I hope he can go for the ESPYs and get the award. I mean, because you know and I know, like I said, the fact that he tucked it in the air and did a 360 and rolled on his shoulder and catches the ball is an unbelievable catch. I mean, and to do that in the first game, the thing about it is everybody's gonna be expecting something even more spectacular from him now. I'm gonna be expecting him to make some tackles. That's what I'm expecting him to do.
Mr. Carter, we don't just want interceptions, we want some tackles too.
Oh, he knows. He knows.
So before we leave off this game, I also want to highlight your NSC conference prime performer in Tyvon Edmonds Jr.
Yes.
You can talk a little bit about him as well.
Well, we had two of them. You know, actually, they were We had Jamar Shagad on defense, and we had Tyvon. You know, Jamar's our leader. He's been with us for the past 6 years because he got here in 2019. Unbelievable person, unbelievable player. And Tyvon, he's just starting off. He's just finishing where he left off at. You know, like I said, he was the NEC Player of the Year last year, and the guy's just playing unbelievable. And like I told you before, his vision is just outstanding, and the way he cut jumps and does some great things, and to complement him with the other running backs that we have, that's outstanding. And Chickett did such a good job just managing the game, making good decisions, except for the one pick. But he's made good decisions, and that's what's going to help us, sustain what we need to sustain to be victorious in certain games. Is doing the things we need to do offensively, and with that running game that he brings, and like I said, he's definitely one of our best running backs, if not our best running back. And I'm hoping maybe he can get the school record. We'll see how it goes, but I'm excited for what he can do for the rest of the year.
Yeah, shout out to Anthony Chickett, man. He was 22 for 30 for 171. He averaged 5.7 yards and one touchdown and one interception.
Yep.
All right, so now this week we on to Edinboro.
Yep.
What is our wow?
Our wow this week, our word of the week is instruction or instructions. Making guys understand. Let's follow them. That's the biggest thing. When you go into a game, you give a game plan. Can the guys follow those instructions? Instructions is a detailed plan. That's what it is. Telling you how to assemble something or put something together or follow directions. And that's the thing that's important. Got to make sure our guys are following our instructions. So that's what I told them all week. You guys, you got to have the right mindset to follow the instructions that we need you to do and in the right direction. So we're trying to get these guys to understand this is the game plan. Let's not get complacent. I'm talking about coaches. I'm talking about players. We can't get complacent in this game. We got to understand that we got to start this game the same way we started the last game. It don't make a difference. We're playing against Edinboro. We're playing against Utah State. Every game, the mindset has to be the same. We got to focus on putting points on the board. We got to focus on moving the ball down the field. Defensively, we got to focus on stopping them. On special teams, we got to focus on not making mistakes. And, Edinboro's coming in, even though they lost last week. They lost a tough game. It was 24-12. They lost to East Stroudsburg. They played tough, and they got some good players. They're going to play hard. They're going to play against us. The head coach, he's an alumni of Robert Morris University. So I know he wants to come back and make a good showing. So our guys have to sustain and cannot get complacent. But got to sustain for 60-plus minutes. I just want to see how well we play for 60-plus minutes. I want to put a full game together, not a half, not three quarters. Let's put a full game together and see what we can do.
So last week we talked mindset. This week we talk instructions, and as you alluded to, mindset is within the instructions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a couple things that we talked about from last game, offensively or defensively, we talked tackling, making sound tackles.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the offense, it's you already have pieces. You have you have linemen that are in that normally aren't your everyday starters, but they did a good job filling in.
Right.
For the circumstances given. So offensively, what are you looking for differently in this game that you did not get from your team, besides the W and putting enough points up on the board to win consistently?
You just said it, putting up the points. And I think our passing game has to be more prolific in this game also. Our running game was good. We had 146 yards, but I think that needs to be a little bit better. But also our passing game, we got to do more than 176 yards. We got to put ourselves in a position where we're getting at least over 250 yards passing per game in order to win football games. So it's going to be nice to see, Noah get a few more catches. New guys that have come and some of our old guys. Terrell Ridgely. Guys like Sean Charles. Like I said, the transfer we have in. Him and but the tight ends are doing a great job. So we're putting those sprinkles in where we need to put them in at, but we also got to add to our running game. I'd like to get another 150 yards. That'd be outstanding. But also, I'd like to also add over 250 yards passing offense, and not 300 yards passing offense to put ourselves in a good position. So those are the things we're looking for. Those are things I think are going to help us win football games. And like I said, it doesn't matter who we're playing. I'm not worried about the opponent. I'm more worried about us. Because bottom line is, no matter who you're playing, like we talked about last week, the field's still 100 yards long and 53 and a third yards wide. So that's the only thing that matters, going out there and putting on a good performance and playing hard.
Absolutely. And, for Robert Morris, one of the things that you talk about and that you preach, and we talked about last year during the season, was tackling. And, for defensively, it's all about keeping them off the board. Talk about your approach to this week's game plan in regards to just re-emphasizing the mindset and the attention to detail in the instructions given when it comes to the tackling, making sound tackles throughout the game.
I think the biggest thing that hurt us last week when it came to tackling is, as you know, when you approach a tackle, your weight has to be on the inside balls of your feet. You got to be able to change direction on what's going on. You want to make sure you bend at the knees and not at the waist. Keep your eyes on your target. Our biggest thing is we were diving at legs last week, trying to hit guys low, trying to make sure and on the sideline, we're trying to dive at guys' legs as opposed to just pushing them out of bounds. And I know the sideline has never missed a tackle. It is 100% in tackling, just push them out of bounds. It's not a problem. But our guys are too busy going for legs, trying to hit low. I don't like that. And the reason I don't like guys hitting low is the simple fact that when you duck your head and you put your head down, two things can happen. You can miss the tackle first. The second thing that can happen, you can get a concussion because you get a knee to the head. So those things aren't good. So we got to make sure we're keeping our eyes up, keeping our eyes on our target, bending at the knees and not at the waist, and coming in and wrapping guys up and grabbing claw. And I talked about it last week. There is no such thing as a perfect tackle, but there's a perfect way to tackle. But let's get the guy on the ground. So the biggest thing is let's not overrun plays. We overran some plays last week. And look, I'm not taking anything from Utah State. Utah State has some speed. They had some players that were pretty doggone good. And the wide receiver, I think, is number 23, and then the quarterback that they brought in. The one quarterback got hurt. They bring in a backup quarterback, number 16. My man runs all over. So they do a good job there. So I'm not taking anything from them. But what I'm saying is you got to take perfect angles. You got to take proper angles in order to make football. We took some bad angles on some of them guys, underestimating their speeds. So that's one thing we got to work on this week is we're gang tackling, making proper angles. If a guy misses it, let's make sure we got another guy in line to make the tackle and put ourselves in good position to do those things. So those are the things I think are important when it comes to tackling.
One of the other things that we talked about that you alluded to was you talked about your team's ability to gang tackle and everybody's running to the ball and at the ball. How was that approach defensively in this game?
That was, to be honest with you, last game, that was pretty doggone good. Like I said, until the fourth quarter when guys started getting tired and stuff like that. So that's definitely an emphasis. It's been an emphasis all week in practice. Like I said, first guy misses, second guy's there to make it. So let's make sure we're running to the football. Make sure
Right.
we're getting there so the first guy misses and the second guy makes it. If you got, like I said last week, 9, 10 guys around the ball, 8, 9, 10 guys around the ball every single time, you're going to make the tackles you need to make. Defensively, always, the max yards you want to give up each play is 3 yards. That's it. If you can give up 3 yards per play, it's 4th and 1. Most teams are going to punt in 4th and 1 depending on where they are on the field. So you put yourself in a good position. If you start getting up 4 yards a play, 5 yards a play, first downs are coming easy. So we got to make sure we give up 3 or less yards per play by gang tackling, making sure we're making sure tacklers are getting guys on the ground.
And one of the other things we talked about was the fact that now for FBS, they can actually have 2 mics, right? One on offense, one on defense, and the helmets.
Yeah, you can have it, but we ain't got the money for that, so we don't have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
how was that? Did you notice if there was an advantage or disadvantage for them in regards to that?
The great thing about it, even though they have the mics and the helmets, at 15 seconds it cuts off. So for the most part, by that time, most teams have made adjustments, and they're giving signals now when they're talking to the guys in the helmet. And I kind of knew when they were talking to the guy in the helmet because there was like a pole with a little red dot at the top of it. So you knew when the communication stopped between the quarterback and the offensive coordinator. So you kind of knew when that was happening. So it put us in a – so I don't know how much of an advantage they got in doing those things. I think as the season goes along and you watch more film and you have more film on guys, it's probably going to be more of an advantage because now things are going to get more, should I say, repetitive, more redundant. You're going to see what a team is and stuff like that. That may become more of an advantage. But I'm not sure how many FCS schools have the helmet with the mics in it and stuff like that. Now, we do have the tablets on the sideline. We don't have them, but you are capable of doing those things. Like we can have an iPad on the sideline, streaming the game, and look at the plays in between what we're doing, but the play only, not a play from the past or play from the, from one of the previous games, just the game that's going on. So we can download the game onto our iPad and look at it as the game is in progress. I'm sorry. So it's a situation where other teams may have it, we don't have it, but we may do those things. So that could become an advantage also. But again, right now in the beginning of the season, I'm more worried about can we get our guys to perform? Can we get our guys to do what we're asking them to do on a regular basis and put our guys in great position to make plays? And to me, that's more important than any tablet, any headset communication, because regardless of what happens, ultimately the player is still the one that's got to make the plays. I mean,
Absolutely.
the coach can make the calls, he can put them in the right position. Ultimately, still got to make the play, still got to get them on the ground, still got to make the tackle, still got to make the run, still got to make the block. It's still blocking, tackling, running. Yeah. That's what football is all about.
Absolutely. And before we go, home game, first home game of the season.
Yes.
How excited are you to get back to the Joe?
I'm excited. I'm excited. The players are excited. They love night games. I don't. As a coach, I don't love night games because I want to get it over with, graded, and get on to the next one. But the players love night games because the crowd's there, the excitement. We got the scoreboard that's lit up, got the lights out, all the fans are there. It's probably going to be a sold-out game simply because of, how hard we played last week. Like I said, there's no moral victories, but because we played so hard and people are like, wow, this team is kind of coming around and they see something in us to where they think we may have a good season, and we're hoping we have a good season. So I'm excited about it. Our guys are excited about it, and hopefully they're going to go out there and they're going to be consistent for 60-plus minutes and make sure we do what we're supposed to do.
Let's go. Listen, we talked mindset last week. We talked instructions this week, and now we just looking for to translate to victories over Attenborough this week at the Joe Walton Stadium.
That sounds good to me, man. No doubt. Like I said, like Coach talked mindset last week. Talk instructions. Let's put both together. Let's have the right mindset to do the instructions we've been asked to do. And let's go, Bobby Mo!
As you know, I'm your host, Pitts from Pitt Sports Zone, Pitts and Push Sports Talk Radio, Bowie TV. It's going down every Tuesday and Thursday for me, 5:30 on Comcast and Verizon with Coach Bernard Clark Jr. It's going down every Thursday at 7. Saturdays, time will differ depending on the time, the location, where their game is being played. But listen, tune in every Thursday, tap in with me and Coach. If you got questions, comments, you want to share, state, go ahead and put them out there. We'll put it up on the screen and ask the questions to Coach. But again, I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. First night of some NFL football. I don't want to say what I want to say, but I'm gonna just keep it. I'm glad the NFL is back.
I hear you. Much love, Pitts. Have a good night, my man.
You as well, man.